All right, y'all. Happy Wednesday. All right, Inner Circle Collective, y'all. Legacy Builder Coach is here. LaShawnee Michael Esquire. And I am here. Of course, I'm the founder and CEO of Cycles of Life Estate Planning Company, where we're moving people from financial security to financial freedom while building a financial legacy that lasts a lifetime. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Technology, but we are here. And of course, this month we are talking about debt management. I told you all on the lives for Inner Circle Collective. And we've been talking about this on my business page for Cycles of Life Estate Planning Company, that we're talking about debt management, the big picture. So we're going to be talking about today in regards to what things you need to be doing to take a real look at your debt. Of course, for the quarter, we're talking about reimagining your relationship with your money. And it's going to be basically 3 pillars for the month of January, February, and March. For January, we're talking about debt management. For February, we're talking about savings. And in March, we're talking about investing. But right now, we're talking about your debt, the big picture. So some of the things that you need to do includes, you need to look at your bills. You need to pick up these papers and start looking and seeing what's what. So you need to first review all of your bills. And that's not including your credit card debt that you amassed over the Christmas holiday. We're talking about also making sure that you are looking at your installment payments, your car payment, your mortgage, all the things that you need to be taken care of during the month, all of your essential bills, along with all of your bills that you've amassed because you needed to purchase gifts, etc. So you want to look at your whole financial picture cumulatively in regards to what is happening with your money. I then want you all to write it down. I want you to write it down, and I want y'all to make sure that you have everything that you need in place and that you can see by the numbers where you are financially. So I want you to get a notebook. I want you to write it down, and I want you to review it. Okay? Then once you do that, I want you to make a decision how much you're going to pay on the debt per month. Now, of course, for your mortgage and your standing bills, your utilities, etc., there's no payment plan. You have to pay those in full or these items will go away. So your cell phone, etc., the things that you know you need, your necessity bills, your standard bills like your housing, your lodging, your food, etc., groceries, car payment and notes and maintenance, those things are standard bills. Then you're going to look and see for your credit cards, what is the minimum? And you're going to pay more than the minimum, okay? So you want to pay more than the minimum amount. So if your minimum is $100, you want to etch that up at least $150. But the best way to determine how much more you need to pay beyond your minimum is to see how much interest rate you are paying. So I want you to look at your credit card bills, particularly where you're going to be spending much more than what you paid for the item. I want you to look at the bills, and I want you to then put up there how much your interest rate is. The average credit card rate interest rate is 25%, okay? So 25% and more, you need to etch up that payment for the minimum payment, okay? So if you're paying $100 is the minimum, you need to etch that up and look at how much interest you are paying per month. If you're paying extra the same amount that it is in interest, you're basically paying the minimum, okay? So if you're paying $100 and depending on the amount of money that you have on that credit card, you are paying $50 in interest, then you need to pay slightly above whatever you're paying in interest on top of that minimum, okay? So if you make a minimum of $100, your interest rate is $50, you need to pay at least $175, okay? So you want to tackle those bills like that, okay? I want you to then go on to annualcreditreport.com, and I want you to pull up your credit report. Remember, this is free, and you should be doing this every year, okay? So, first thing first, I want you to gather your bills. 2, I want you to review all your bills and write them down, meaning your household, your necessity bills versus your disposable bills like credit cards and things that you've amassed, but you didn't necessarily need to pay per month, okay? So if you did a lot of shopping like I did last month for holiday and Christmas and all those things, those are your disposable kind of bills that you may have this month, you may not have it. Then I want you to add up those bills so you can have a full picture of how much you have amassed as far as debt and how much you need to pay out every month. That's including your mortgage, your car payment, all those things, because you already know that these things have to be paid. I also want you to then go on to look at your credit card bills, and I want you to write down your interest rates for each bill that you have that is a revolving credit, okay? Credit card debt is revolving. Why is it revolving? Because one month it may be this amount, next month it may be another amount. When you're looking at your standard bills, your mortgage, your car payment, those are the same every month. Your car insurance, etc. However, if you have a revolving debt, that is something that can change at any time, okay? So I then want you to look at that, see how much interest rate you're paying. If you're paying 25% or above, then you know you need to pay more than your minimum, and then you need to etch it up based on how much interest you are paying. So I want you to look at a bill, your previous bill, look at it and say, okay, your minimum payment was $100. Then you had $50 interest. Then the problem is that you need to now pay at least above $150. Okay? Then lastly, I want you to go on annualcreditreport.com, which is free for everyone, for you to pull up your credit report for all 3 credit agencies. So that's Equifax, that's Experian, and that's TransUnion. I want you to go up there, pull those reports, and then I want you to examine those reports and make sure they're mirroring what you are seeing. Because what you don't want to happen is that you're trying to tackle this debt and you realize there's a medical bill out there that you forgot about and you're possibly in collections. You want to see if you have any negative marks on your credit report. Those are the things that when you're trying to buy big ticket purchase items like a home, like a car, and different things, it affects your credit score. So I then want you to review your credit report, and it is free once a year on annualcreditreport.com. So those are the tips that I have today. We're going to meet again on Friday at 10 a.m. and we're going to talk about what other steps you need to be taking. But I want you to get a real view of what you need to do to get out of the debt, but you got to examine and see where you are first. Unfortunately, so often we are looking at debt in a microcosm of our bills every month. And for you to get a big picture, you have to see where you are. So it's just like navigation. You put it on and it's guiding you to your next steps. If you can't navigate the credit and your debt until you see where you are. So I want you to look at those things and see all the things that you need to do to make sure that you are at the point that you need to be. Okay? So, your legacy building coach, your financial coach in the Inner Circle Collective, LaShawn E. Michael Esquire. We're going to stop here to give you an opportunity to ingest and take this all in. And then, as I said, we're going to continue this conversation on Friday, and then we're going to make sure that you get all this information down. But just to go over the steps one more time, I want you to gather all your bills. That's one, all your bills. I then want you to write down all your bills, okay? So you can see how much you're owing and how much you're going to take out every month. I then want you to look at your interest rates. I want you to look at your interest rates, see how much your interest rates are, particularly on revolving debt. So if you have credit card debt, I do too, you need to look and see how much interest are you paying, okay? Because if you are on a 0 APR, and we'll talk about APRs later this month, if you have 0 interest, then you can play with how much you pay per month versus if you have 25% interest rate or above or 33, then you are now paying a minimum payment on top of an interest rate, and you need to up that so you can get yourself out of this debt, okay? Then I want you to look at your annual credit report and determine if the debt that you're seeing at your house and the bills that's coming in your mailbox or online or automated or however you have set it up is matching what is on those credit reports. And remember, you can get a free credit report from annualcreditreport.com, and you can get it for all 3 agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Okay? And that is given to everyone who has a credit history. So if you have a credit history, you want to go look at your credit report every year and pick the same time, because if you try to come back within the calendar year before it expires out, it will not allow you to. So just to give you an example, if you got your credit report on Valentine's Day last year, you cannot get it again until after Valentine's Day this year. All right? So thank y'all so much. As always, I'm here to help. I'm here to help y'all get to the point of financial freedom. The main thing I want you to remember is that once we get a handle of money, we can then talk about other things to protect the legacy of our families, including estate planning. But I want y'all to stay tuned, because at the end of the month, I'm going to do a class talking about debt management. All right? So we're building little blocks to get y'all to the point where you need to be. All right, y'all, have a great day. I'll see y'all on Friday. Apologize for the technical difficulties, and welcome to the Inner Circle Collective. And this is the good information you're going to get that's going to teach you how to manage this debt and to get to financial freedom and build a lasting legacy that will last a lifetime for you and your family. Bye for now. Have a great day.